Disclosure: all information we have on these cases are public record. We are not making fun of anyone or anything. This channel is for awareness of cases and entertainment purposes only.
Hey y'all, welcome back to our channel. Today we're going to listen to Kaylor tell us a case. So take it away, Kaylor.
Thank you, Renee. So, in this video we're going to be talking about a murder of a child. So, there's not really a lot of warning-ish in this video because there really wasn't anything like gory and graphic and everything. But there's one part in it that I will give a warning when I get to that part about it. So, we're going to be talking about the murder of Dylan Redwine. Do you remember me telling you about this?
Yes.
About the kid? Yes. And
This is so, oh my God, I don't even know what to say.
See, I knew, I found this case and, I kind of knew a little bit of the gist and all that, but when I finally, did the research, there's a lot. And there's one part, I was like, what in the world?
I know, it's sick and it's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know how she's going to present it or whatever, but I do know the case. It's hard not to know some of them because we watch true crime all the time, so you're going to hear different ones all,
Yeah.
So, anyway, go ahead.
So, Dylan Redwine was born February 6, 1999, so he's literally 5 years old, younger than me. So, when everything happened, he was 13, but oh my gosh, I was 18 when I was graduating high school and all this stuff, and this poor kid was murdered. But he was, his parents were Mark and Elaine Redwine, and he was born and all that in Colorado. He had
that would be a cool last name to have.
Redwine.
Redwine. My name's Renee Redwine. That would be cool.
When I think of when I hear red wine and all this stuff, I think of red.
Oh.
But Dylan had an older brother named Corey, and he had two half siblings that were from Mark's previous marriage, so his first wife. Dylan was known to be quiet, but also he was still social. He liked playing baseball, and he liked hanging out with his friends and everything. So, he was a normal kid. He was also obsessed with his phone. What 13-year-old is not obsessed with a phone?
I know, for real. You gotta be like, all right, that's enough. Get it here.
So, he was always on his phone, just texting, social media, YouTube.
Well, even me, I'm 48 years old, and I'm like, Renee, put your phone down. Jeez, take a minute,
Same.
You're attached to it now.
It's I feel I can't even go to the bathroom without it.
I know, I did the same thing.
And if I go to the bathroom without it, guess what? I'm reading the back of a shampoo bottle. Oh, that's how you're supposed to wash your hair.
I'll take my phone with me every time.
But his father was a trucker. He was an overnight haul trucker. My dad's a trucker, but he just kind of does local around here. But this guy, he was going to Washington, New Jersey, he was all over the place. And with that, it kind of led to difficulty in the marriage between Mark and Elaine, and which ultimately led in a divorce. Now, all divorces, there are some good ones, that's okay, I want this, I want this, I want this, I want this, okay, blah, 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 done. But a lot of divorces are messy, mostly when children are involved. So, this divorce was messy because of the kids, the whole custody and everything.
So, she was upset because he was gone all the time?
Yeah, I think it was a mixture of that, and it was just, Mark wasn't a good guy.
Oh, okay.
From, all the other stuff that I read, he was very violent, and he was just kind of, not... He looks, from, the pictures and everything, he looks just kind of like a hard ass. That kind of dad, that hard ass dad.
Yeah. If you're not a good person, that's one thing, but I was going to say, this is my opinion. Y'all needy bitches out there that need somebody up your ass 24/7, and you marry somebody that's a trucker, you gotta know they're gonna be gone, quite a bit of most of the time.
Yeah.
If you want somebody up your butt, don't marry a trucker. And then get mad because they're not there all the time and divorce them.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Grow up, do some shit on your own. Damn.
Because, like, truckers, they make some good money if they stay on the road and keep hauling.
I mean, I understand if the
Yeah.
guy's not a good person or whatever, like this
Yeah.
guy, but I mean, if you marry somebody that's a trucker, they're not going to be there.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Well, they were married for 18 years. So,
mhm.
18 years down the drain and everything. So, this is kind of weird that, like, I didn't really know judges could do this. I guess because they were older, Daniel and his brother were older. Well, his brother, by the time everything was done, his brother was 18, so he really didn't have he could do whatever he wanted to. But the judge actually met with Daniel and Corey to figure out who they wanted to live with.
Oh yeah, you can do that. I think it's like at a certain age. It's 12 or 13, something like that.
He was 13 at this time.
They'll let you decide who you want to live with.
Yeah.
Provided that people aren't, doing drugs and doing crazy stuff,
Yeah. So the judge, met with both of them, asked, who do you want to live with and everything. And Dylan actually told the judge, like, I do not want to live with my father. Like, no. Because, like, him and his father relationship was kind of, like, off. Like, they really didn't, like, that father and son relationship and everything. And, like, once the parents started when they were going through the divorce, they even grew further apart with everything. So he was like, no, I do not want to live with my dad. Like, and Dylan was also upset, like, that the way Mark was treating Elaine, like his mother, like, he's just like, I don't want to live with him.
Yeah.
So at the end, his mother actually gained full custody of the kids, but Mark had visitation rights, whatever. So Dylan, 13 now, was living with his mother and his mother's boyfriend in a town near Colorado Springs, and Mark was living in Bayfield, Colorado. It was south of Colorado, in Durango. Mark has visitation with Dylan. I always say that it's Dylan, but at the time Corey, the brother, was 18, so he didn't really have to go. But his brother would go with him sometimes, and I guess just kind of support in a way. But any time that they were, like, Dylan would go to visit his father, it would always end up in an argument, and just heated, and it's just everything. So Mark would also take his frustration about the divorce and everything out on Dylan, which I think is horrible.
That is horrible because it's not the kid's fault.
Yeah.
It's your dumbass fault.
So, November 18th, 2012, Dylan his mother took him to the airport to go visit his father it was Thanksgiving weekend. And he did not want to go. Like, he was just like, I don't want to go. But out of the fear of him not going, and for, the court to come back and be like, well, you're not doing your visitations, he has his rights, whatever, they could take the kids from Elaine. So out of that, her mother, I guess, was just like, just go, it's just the weekend, just go, everything will be alright. So he leaves, he gets on the plane, and the reason why he flew, because they're both in Colorado, you're thinking, why did he fly? It's because from where he was living with his mother to his father's house was a 6-hour drive.
Oh, okay. So he's probably like in the air for 45 minutes or something.
Yeah. So
I still wouldn't put my kid by himself on a plane, I'm just saying.
I mean, like, 13, he had to be a company minor, right? Is that how you say it? Like, they had to have somebody fly with him. Like,
he would have had to have like a flight attendant sit with him or whatever, but still, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm just a little overprotective anyways.
Another reason is he was kind of didn't want to go because his brother wasn't going to be there with him. So it was literally just going to be his dad and him.
Yeah.
So he was kind of just like, I don't want to go, because he, like I said, he was going to be along with his father. In his father's house, he actually lived like in a cabin-ish thing, and it was out in the middle of daggone nowhere. Like, it was a secluded area, tucked back and everything, because Colorado is very woodsy and like
he's
treesy,
going
foresty.
to the middle of nowhere with no friends and nothing to do, and
He had some friends around.
Oh, okay. That's good.
When he landed, he texted his mom, and he was clearly upset by what the text said, and the text kind of read something like, just landed, and he sent a sad emoji, like a emoji.
Bless his heart.
But little did Elaine know that was the last text she would ever get from her son. Mark picked Dylan up from the airport around 6 p.m. That evening, and they stopped at Walmart and also at McDonald's to get some stuff for dinner and everything. And when he got home, he asked his dad if he can go stay at a friend's house. And his dad was just like, no. He just told him no. You know, you're here to spend time with me,
Right.
you know, whatever. No, you're not going. So Dylan then was texting his friend, you know, saying, hey, we'll meet up tomorrow at 6:30 in the morning. Let me ask you something. You've got a son. 13. Let's say 13. Is he getting up at 6:30 in the morning to go hang out with friends?
Absolutely not.
So that just shows that he did not want to be there with his dad. He's trying to get up there at 6:30 in the morning and get out of the house.
Well, he's trying to stay with him the night before, and he's, you know, he's trying to leave. Yeah, bless his heart.
I know.
I don't know why that it has to be so complicated as far as, you know, I think every situation like that should be looked at individually instead of, okay, this is what happens with everybody. This is the one law that we have to follow. Because some people just aren't good people. And if a 13-year-old kid is like, you know, crying and not wanting to go see their parent, you know, and like, there's got to be something going on.
Yeah.
You know, and even if there's not, like, find out if there is. You know, don't let it go and let them just, you know, I mean, something like this could happen. You know, I mean, I don't know.
I mean, it's like these poor kids are so forced into stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like, you know, they don't, like, they have their own mind, their own choice and everything. I mean, yeah, there are parents out there that kind of feed, like, you know, oh, your father's such a horrible father, like all that stuff. But, like, you know, something like this, it's kind of like, just listen to the kid, bless his heart, or just, you know, whatever.
I mean, I'd say 90% of the time, you know, the kid is going to tell you the truth. I mean, of course, there's those kids that try to play the parents off of each other and they're full of shit, you know, but you still, I think, should look into everything individually, you know.
So this part right here is kind of what Mark did the next day. So Dylan actually slept over the time that he's supposed to meet with his friends. So he's supposed to meet his friend at like 6:30 in the morning. He just kept sleeping, like a kid would.
Yeah.
And Mark woke up around 7:30 in the morning. He got up to go run errands. Before he left, he went in there to Dylan and he kind of like tried to wake him up. You do it to your kid all the time, like, hey, we're leaving, we're going to Walmart.
And they're like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
So barely answer.
He said that he did that. He said he went in there, he's like, hey, I'm going to run errands. You know, I'll be back later, whatever. So he goes and runs his errands. He says he returns home around 11:30 a.m. and he found the front door open, like left open. The TV was on and it was turned on to Nickelodeon, and a bowl of cereal was left on the table. But there was no Dylan. And Dylan's backpack, cell phone, and fishing pole was gone. So he thought that, you know, he woke up, he got ready, he went to meet up with his friends.
Right.
So Mark said that he went to take a nap and he woke up around 2:30, and when he woke up, Dylan was still not home.
Okay. If I came home and found that, I would not assume that is where my child was at. I'd be calling, I'd be looking, I'd be going to wherever he said he was going to be, checking to make sure that's where he was at.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, no, you know, just assume and go take a nap when
He
your
was like,
kid's
oh, front door's left open?
Yeah.
I'm gonna take a
I'm
nap.
gonna take a nap.
Like, I don't think I've ever left. Well, our door is like a glass door and then another door.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I've left that other door open, but I've never just kind of like left the door open and leave.
No.
Like, even when I was a kid, like, I always made sure like the doors were closed.
Yeah, you shut the door.
So he said he took a nap, and then when he woke up, he still wasn't home. So Mark said he started feeling a little uneasy. So
after you took your nap?
yeah. Well, I smell a little bit of some BS with this guy. So he says that he's texting Dylan, like, hey, where are you? All this and that, and he's not getting any answers from him. And he was like, you know, still no answer. So he's like, all right, I'm gonna go out and look for him. So he goes out and he runs into two of Dylan's friends that he apparently was supposed to meet up with. He's like, hey, have you guys seen Dylan? Like, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, no, we've been trying to reach him like all day. We have no answer. So Mark then decided to go to the Bayfield Marshal's office and report him missing. He also reached out to his ex-wife to see if she knew anything. And people apparently, from my research and everything, when I was listening to this one podcast about this story, is that apparently people were upset that he reached out to his ex-wife. Why are you, if we're divorced, not like we, but like if I was divorced with somebody, like I would, you know,
you would call the other parent.
Yeah, that just shows that you're a good parent,
right?
Like trying to reach out to him. Plus, you know, I think Mark knew that he didn't want to be there, and he thought maybe he like reached out to his mom and he was like trying to, you know, get back home or something like that, or he knew, like she knew something. But people were like upset that he reached out to Elaine. I'm like, why?
That's probably the only thing this guy did.
For like the only thing that he actually did was So Elaine also went and reported Dylan missing to the sheriff's office, I guess, where she was at too, just in case, you know, he did end up, you know, finding his way back home or whatever. So Elaine and Elaine's boyfriend and Corey just started the drive down to down to Durango, where he was at. They got down there late Monday night, and they spoke to the sheriffs, and they started searching. So like they went down there and started, you know, just pan out, let's go find him. But here's the thing, Mark didn't go out for the search. Like he didn't want to go out and search for him.
They would have to tie me to a chair. Like you couldn't make me sit somewhere and not go look for my kid.
No, he didn't want to.
I know, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
I would want to.
Yeah.
Like I'm not gonna sit. I mean, you'd have to tie me down. Like I'm going out to look. Like I'm not just gonna sit here and twiddle my fingers. Like
he didn't want to. He just sat down in a house, I guess, or whatever. They were also concerned with the lack of phone usage that Dylan wasn't having, because the last text he sent was at 9:30 at night to the friend, you know, being like, hey, we're gonna meet up at this time.
Yeah.
Okay, here's another thing too. You got a son. 9:30 is the last time he's on his phone. He ain't going to bed at 9:30. When's the last time he went to bed at 9:30?
Like
When he was years. When he was in school, in elementary school, right?
Yeah.
So that's another thing. And Elena was like, he goes to bed at like 11 o'clock.
Yeah.
Like she knows her kid.
Mm-hmm.
And apparently Mark doesn't, because there's another part with this too.
Well, even if he wasn't texting his friends or anything, you know, and he's just laying there in bed, I mean, you can find out a lot by looking at somebody's phone.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, he may have been playing a video game on his phone.
Yeah.
Or, like, you know, they would have been able to see what he was doing, you know.
But the last thing that we ever really kind of did was like 9:30.
Yeah.
Like, here's my thing, is that if my parents did ever, they would never, but like divorced or whatever, I was like this age and they got divorced, and I, you know, had to fly out to see my dad and everything, and like I would be texting my mom. I would be texting somebody.
Yeah.
Like I would be
You would
texting
be.
you or whoever. Like I would always continuously be on my phone, or I would even like call my mom or like FaceTime or anything like that. But
I mean, when we're together a lot, especially like every weekend pretty much, because we're sitting here and doing stuff. But like even when we're not together, we're snapping each other all day. Like
yeah, like hey, look at this.
Like you don't.
It's like that's the thing.
Of course, I'm sure Snapchat and stuff wasn't out yet then.
Well, that was 2000. Yeah, that was.
Yeah, it was.
Because I was 18 and I had it in high school and everything.
Okay.
So I mean, like all that
okay.
social media was around, and there was just nothing for this kid. And also the kid's friend Dylan's friend that he was supposed to meet up with, texted him at 6:40 in the morning, being like, "Hey man, like we thought we were supposed to meet up. Like where are you?" So, like, there really wasn't much left with the whole phone thing. That kind of really scratched a lot, like, mostly Elaine's head. She was kind of like, you know, he's 13 years old.
Mhm.
Like, what's going on? So the police started looking into Mark, but it wasn't like he's a suspect. It was kind of like, let's just, you know, kind of fill in the holes. You
Yeah.
said that you ran out and did errands when all this happened. So they they saw a video that Dylan actually, Dylan. I was gonna call him Daniel. It's not Daniel. I'm so sorry. It's Dylan. Dylan shows a video that he did land in the airport and that he picked him up. That Mark picked him up and they, you know, were at Walmart, McDonald's, and all that. So like, he was here. So they were just kind of trying to verify and everything. Like when Daniel started going missing. So they started with looking into his errands and everything, and they saw that he said that he ran to the post office and to his divorce lawyer's office, and they can confirm that he did go to both of those places before heading home. But Mark was more suspicious. Like he would thought that, you know, he said that Daniel possibly could have left on foot and had gone to a campground, you know, whatever, to go fishing and everything, or he went to his friend's house.
It is really windy.
Yeah, it's like 70 miles
Like
per hour
if you
wind.
hear it, it's wind.
Yeah. So sorry about that. There's nothing we can do about that. But he thought that he like I said, he left on foot. And thought that he went to the campground or went to his friend's house.
Yeah, like how far is he gonna go on foot? I mean, he's not gonna be that far.
Here's the thing. The friend's house that he's supposed to go to was 9 miles away. That's a lot.
Yeah, to walk.
Mhm.
Like, yeah, that's a lot.
So from where my house is to the Weigels that's up there near my house, that's a mile. That is exactly 1 mile. Imagine walking that
gosh.
back and so 1, 2, 3.
I wonder how long it is between my house and your house.
I have
I
no
don't
idea.
know. I wonder if that ain't even 9 miles. Google.
I'm gonna see.
Like, that's a long walk. Not just for a kid, but for anybody.
Yeah.
That's long.
I don't know. I didn't know.
I mean, that's long unless you're going to Disney and you're walking around like you're doing, what,
That's
30,000 steps a day.
from where my car is parked to my house is 3.9 miles.
Oh, my word.
That's not even. Now here's the thing. Here's a story, a little side story with this. My brother got mad one day and he walked from my house all the way back to his house. You remember me telling you
Yes.
about that? I wonder how far that is. But let me tell you, he said that the
Well,
next
that's not
day.
9 miles either. If it's not 9 miles from here to your house, it ain't 9 miles from your house to his house either.
I don't know. It's up there near the hospital. That's
No.
pretty good.
Ain't 9 miles.
I don't know.
We're getting off on that.
But he ended up, Cody ended up saying his feet hurt the next day. So
Oh, I'm
like,
sure.
Yeah. But like the kid, that's the thing too, is like it was 9 miles away. So I mean, like, no kid's gonna
Oh
walk
my
that
gosh,
far.
no.
I don't even want to walk that far.
No.
I maybe do like 2-3 miles on the treadmill.
Yeah.
I'm done.
Uh-huh.
So I thought it was a little suspicious that he would say that. He was just kind of throwing ideas out there to
Yeah.
see what would catch.
Right.
So, and plus the police were starting to look into this as just a runaway. I mean, I don't know. It was just more of, I don't think it would have been a runaway. Like, I wouldn't have looked
I
around
mean,
to it as a runaway.
at first you probably would have until you got into the meat of the situation. Because, you know, he's having to go to his dad's. He doesn't want to. You know, he's being forced to. Like, he's already trying to go spend the night with his friend. Like, he's begged his mom not to go. Like, he doesn't want to be there anyway.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, I can see where the police would think that in the beginning.
Yeah.
Because he's just trying to get away from his dad. He's going to take off and go somewhere else just to be out of here.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
know?
I didn't think about that. But Elaine said that she knew her ex-husband. She's like, I know this fucker. Like,
Right.
and she's like, I know Dylan would not run away. Like,
Yeah.
he would maybe, you know, go to the friend's house and just kind of camp out there.
Yeah, that's what makes me mad too. When, you know, I've seen this so many times, like watching all the things that I watch. when the police don't listen to the parents.
Mm.
I'm sorry, but like, 90% of parents know their children.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I mean, you got them shit ass parents that don't take care of their kids and don't pay attention to them and, would rather do whatever they're doing. But like 90% of parents know, like, my child would not run away.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if I disappeared, my mother would know that I did not just get up and take off somewhere.
Yeah, same. My parents know
And
that.
they don't listen.
Uh-huh.
And they're like, oh no, he ran away. It's like, I don't want to do my job, so I'm just gonna, I don't know. Anyway.
But like Elaine, she's like, I know my ex-husband, like, no, Dylan went away and all that, and she's like, I don't believe a word that comes out of Mark's mouth. Like, his whole story, I don't believe none of it.
Yeah.
Because, before that, because then they started a search for him in the San Juan Mountains. It's like, I guess it's the area around Mark's cabin. They use ATV, drones, they even used a canine unit to help with the search of the wooded area, and they weren't able to find anything. So they're kind of like, rah. As the holiday week went on, there was still no sign of Dylan, but they just kept looking. So they kind of didn't throw this aside as just like, okay, he's a runaway, oh, we looked, okay, done. Like, they just kept looking, and Elaine was suspicious of Mark's story. She knew that he wasn't telling the whole story.
Yeah.
If you remember that Mark said that, the front door was left open, TV was on Nickelodeon, his backpack, cell phone, and fishing pole was missing. But Elaine knew, she's like, Dylan hasn't watched Nickelodeon in months. She's like, he's been really hooked on MTV, watching a lot of MTV.
Well, he's 13.
Yeah.
Of course he's watching MTV.
MTV watching something else except for daggum SpongeBob.
I mean, he's growing up at 13. You're not watching, Disney Channel anymore. Like,
Yeah.
anyway.
So, like, she's like, he's not, he's watching MTV, and she also thought it was weird that, like, his fishing pole, like, she said that Dylan's been fishing once, and he really didn't know what he was doing with it.
Yeah.
Like, so why would he take his fishing pole? But then again, she was like, well, he went to a friend's house. Maybe, he was like, hey, let's go fishing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, she was kind of, like, half suspicious with it and everything. The family did do a lot of, like, reaching out and everything, trying to get the story out there. They made a Facebook page. They even did a $55,000 reward for any information that would lead to his finding. With social media, it started getting a lot of foot traffic, and the story started, to get out there. The weekend after Thanksgiving, a K-9 unit picked up on Daniel's scent at Vallecito something lake.
Let me see.
Vallecito? Vallecito Lake. It's a lake. They sent out diving people out there to, look into the lake and everything, and they actually had an object detecting sonar on the boat, and they're trying to, I guess it's one that kind of reads under the water to see if you can find
yeah,
anything.
it does. There's a YouTube channel I watch where they do that. They take their little boats out and they have like sonar equipment, and it reads like it's a screen, and you can see what's under the water.
Yeah.
It reads everything that's on the. They find cars and like all kinds of stuff.
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So they used that, and nothing came out of it. They didn't find anything. Dylan's half brother came from Arizona down to help with the search, and just like just like everybody else in the family too, his half brothers, he really didn't have a great relationship with his father. But he said that during the search, Mark just kept sticking to the same story, and he didn't feel like, like he also felt like he wasn't telling the whole story too. And he said that he was fully cooperating with the police, like Mark was, and like he never went out and did anything. Mark, like, he never went out to help with the searches. He never did anything like that. And the police actually did end up searching Mark's cabin.
Well, his he's got a story, and he's sticking with it, and then he's pulling himself away from everything.
Mm-hmm.
So it's like, here's my story, this is what happened, but I don't want to be around anybody.
Yeah.
I mean, that's suspicious.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you feel uncomfortable, you're going to pull yourself away from whatever situation,
Mm-hmm.
you know.
But the police did do a search on Mark's cabin, and they found droplets of Daniel's blood. Dylan's blood. I'm so sorry. But Mark's girlfriend, she was like, oh, you know, he cut himself last time he was here for the visit, so that's probably what that is.
Mm.
I don't think she knew about what really happened and everything. I think she was just kind of like, well, no, he cut himself when he was there last time. That probably could have been what it was. Because I don't think she would have thought that Mark would do something to his own son.
Right.
They did bring Mark in for an interview. But he wasn't like a person of interest or a suspect or anything like that. They just wanted to bring him in, you know, try to fill in the holes of here and there. And they talked to both Mark and Elaine both did a polygraph. Elaine passed hers, and Mark, guess what? Failed it. He failed his. The case actually went cold for a few months, but in February of 2013, a new search started happening. I'm not really sure what prompted this search to start up. Like, there really wasn't a lot of information about it, so I don't know if maybe there was something that was, you know, I don't even know what really would start the search up. The police brought in cadaver dogs in on this. And they went into like this deserted area around Mark's cabin, and again, they found nothing. So, I mean, it just keeps coming to a dead end. This is where I was like, what in the world? Because it's just one of those things, it's like, oh my gosh, like, they went on the Dr. Phil show.
Really?
Yes. Okay, I have a little thing about Dr. Phil. I don't like Dr. Phil. I think he is a money-grabbing... My mom watched him all the time. I don't like Dr. Phil.
I don't really watch Dr. Phil. I don't really have an opinion about him. I
got a lot of opinions about this crazy guy. But they went on the show, and it's weird to see, like, there's been some people... Have you ever really, like... There's a couple of stuff that's happened with people that's been on TV shows and everything, and then you see them, and you're like, oh my gosh, he's a murderer or whatever.
Yeah.
Like the the Love Show murder guy.
Oh, yeah. They've done a movie on that.
Mm-hmm.
Anna Kendrick stars in it. We need to watch that.
Yes. So, I mean,
his name's Rodney something. Rodney, what was his name?
Rodney King? No.
Yeah. Anyways.
So they went on the Dr. Phil show, and the whole time, Elaine and Mark were just accusing each other. It was just a back and forth. I actually watched a little piece here and there. It's like, apparently it's like a 2-hour special, something like that. So I didn't watch all of it because I can't. I mentally cannot with this man, with Dr. Phil. So they were just continuously back and forth at each other, like accusing. And Elaine even said, like, she kept accusing, like, him of, like, you did something with him, with Dylan. Like, you did something.
Ladies, listen to the voice. Listen to your intuition, because it's normally right.
Mm-hmm. But Mark just kept she kept throwing it back at her. Like, it was just, it's ridiculous. Like, the whole, oh my gosh, it was back and forth. Elaine kept asking Mark what he did to Dylan, because she knew, like, she kept asking, like, what did you do to him? Like, what? Because she knew. Dr. Phil even asked him, he's like, you want to do a polygraph? Like, we'll do it right here on the show. And he's like, this will help to clear your name. This will help, really, everything.
I mean, polygraphs they can't use them in court.
Yeah.
So I don't even know why they do them. Like,
well, this would be great TV for Dr. Phil.
Yeah, that's true.
But Mark said, yeah. He's like, yeah, I'll do it. So they don't show them on screen doing it. They usually go behind the scenes, do it, whatever. Dr. Phil will come back with the results. So apparently, when they went to go do it, Mark pulled back. He's like, nope, I don't want to do it now.
Never mind. Yeah.
And Dr. Phil was pissed. Oh my gosh, he was so mad. He was yelling at Mark. It was hilarious. But because like, you know, they asked him, he's like, yeah, you failed with the police and everything.
Yeah.
And Mark said that they said that the police told Mark, like, you know, you failed, but then they came back and said the findings were inconclusive. So I mean, it was like, but it's like, okay, they say that, okay, well now you're getting a second chance to prove everything, and then you pull back on it.
Well, you know you're gonna fail again. You know you're gonna fail again.
Yeah. So, Corey, Dylan's brother, came on the show too. It was just, I mean, the whole time he was talking about how horrible of a father Mark was and everything. And he straight up, I watched the clip, he straight up said, he's like, you murdered him. Like, you killed Dylan. Like, what did you do with him? Where is he? Like, everything. And he kept calling Mark Mark. He wouldn't call him Dad. And Dr. Phil asked him, he's like, why are you calling him Mark? And he goes, pretty much in a roundabout way, he goes, he's not a father to me. He's never been a father to me. He's dead to me. So it was like the whole thing was
way to go,
like,
big brother.
Yeah.
Like for real.
He was, and then like Mark was saying to him, he's like, well, your mother's brainwashing you. You know, she's putting the words in your mouth. And Corey, at the time, Corey was 18 and all this, and he was like, no. He goes, I have my own mouth. I have my own words and my feelings towards you. These are what they are, my feelings.
Yeah.
Like, he was, oh my gosh, I was like, go Corey, like, say that. But with the show ending and everything after being on there, it really kind of made the case more worldwide and everything. And they were gonna do another search.
I bet Mark's shitting his pants about right now too.
Shit. But they were gonna do another search, but it was in the dead of winter, so they really couldn't go into areas because of the ice and snow. And you know, if they wanted to dig anything, what is this called? Ground. I forgot the word for ground.
Do you ever do that? Like, how do you spell and? Like, you just have a brain fart and you're like, you can't.
You write it out and you're like, I
That
don't seem
doesn't
right.
look right.
And you go and you
Forgot
forgot
to spell V.
You Google it and it's like, oh shit. But they, like, with the search and everything, they couldn't really do the search. They really wanted to go into areas that were like hard to access. They were just too dangerous. So they planned to do a massive search once everything melted away in June of 2013. Oh, my finger bumped. This is going to be a 5-day search, and it was going to cover about 12 miles of an unpaved part of Middle Mountain Road, which is a road parallel to Mark's cabin. So there was, once everything, melted and all that, and they started the search, there was 45 officers on the search, and on June 25th, 2013, they found something. That night, the La Plata Sheriff's Office announced they have found evidence leading to Dylan's disappearance. Yeah. But they were planning for a 5-day search, so they continued with the search. They found that evidence. We're like, we're gonna, planning for a 5-day, we're gonna continue on. So they didn't stop right then and there, which is great, because most people that were like, oh, we found something and we're done. So they continued on, and 2 days later, after they found something, 2 days later, on June 27, 2013, the police confirmed to Dylan's parents they had found parts of Dylan. This was about 8 miles away from Mark's cabin in a remote, difficult area to access. They said they had found remains, but they did not find any of Dylan's stuff, like his backpack, cell phone, fishing pole. So I guess, they've probably found a bone, like a leg bone or something like that. The medical examiner said that the remains that they found could not determine his cause of death because they didn't find his skull. So the skull is really what will determine his cause of death. So the family was just devastated, of course. But Elaine and Corey still believe that Mark had something to do with Dylan's death, which, ding ding ding, you right, ladies and gents. Mark told, but when Mark, like, he was told, like, and everything, and he said he was blindsided by the discovery of his son's death and stated, "I cannot wrap my head around it. It can never prepare you for something like this. I am reaching out to his mother so he can have a proper burial. Making sure he has a proper burial and the respect he deserves is what I have to focus on." So, here's the thing, is that Mark is, you know, the guy who killed his wife, his pregnant wife, and his 2 daughters. Remember that guy? Oh, okay. So, the thing about Mark is that he is so, like, when he comes onto the cameras and he talks to the news people, he's on.
Oh, you're talking about Chris Watts.
Yes.
Yeah, okay. It took me a minute.
Yeah, you know, it's like he's talking to the cameras, he's like,
Yeah.
but like when it comes to searching, doesn't want anything to do with it. That's about Mark. He'll talk to everything. Oh, my son's missing. But then when it's like, hey, why don't you get up and search? I got to sit my ass on this couch and not do a damn thing. So, they had the remains and everything, and apparently, I guess whenever everything figured out, like when he went missing, or like whenever the information got out that they found remains, I guess Elaine and Mark, they were both in separate cars, of course, but I guess they passed each other on the road, and Mark said that Elaine rolled down the window and screamed at Mark, "Murder!" and called him a murderer, and I guess drove away.
I don't blame you, Elaine.
I would do the same thing too. I mean, I probably would put a little fist into it, but boo. The police still didn't, with the evidence, they still really didn't have much to go off because they still don't know the cause of death and everything because of his skull. And Elaine she wasn't having any of this. She was like, Mark did something, whatever. So she went to the media and straight up told them, Mark had something to do with it. And she also said that she witnessed Mark being violent with the kids before. In 2014, Elaine was still pushing that Mark had something to do with Dylan's death, and the police was still trying to investigate everything. Elaine at one point was granted a temporary restraining order against Mark. I don't know why. I guess
Probably just him being violent.
Yeah. In 2014, the police actually returned back to Mark's cabin to do another search. And at this time, they officially identified Mark as a person of interest in the case. So, I mean, it wasn't he was a suspect. It was just kind of like a person, a person of interest. On November 1st, 2015, almost 2 years after Dylan's disappearance, a hiker discovered Dylan's skull on a path in the middle mountain road, 1.5 miles away from where the other evidence was found. So they found his skull, and the medical examiner with that did an autopsy on Dylan's skull, and they found proof that Dylan's death was not an accident. They found a fracture above Dylan's left eye and blood force trauma to the head. So I guess with that, Dylan's death was not caused, because they were thinking that he got mauled by a mountain lion or a bear or something like that, but they changed it to homicide. This started to break apart Mark's story about Dylan running away and everything, and being attacked by an animal. But Mark changed his story, saying that Dylan probably, he was saying, that's the reason, maybe he ran away and he got attacked by an animal, he fell into a ditch or whatever.
Yeah.
But, after they found it and they knew that it was a homicide, Mark then changed the story. He's like, well, maybe he got kidnapped. What kidnapper is taking a kid and murdering him and putting him, not even a couple miles away from where he was at? They usually kidnap, go somewhere completely different, miles and miles away and everything. No. And also, Mark said that somebody did this to try to frame Mark. Put the remains near his house.
Like somebody gives a shit who Mark is?
Yeah. Like an enemy or something.
Yeah.
Like, nobody's that crazy.
Well, they are, but you know.
Yeah. I mean, but it's like, I wouldn't do that for revenge, kill your son and try to frame it on you. An FBI profiler was brought into this case. His name was Pete Kilsmith. He said that the news story from Mark, he said, quote, was a mathematical likelihood close to zero. So he didn't believe it.
Yeah.
And with that, the FBI profiler, Pete, he was like, yeah, he murdered him. A year and a half later, in June of 2017, Mark was officially arrested for the murder of his son, Dylan. He was arrested in Washington because he was on that trucking haul. He was still trucking at this time. And so the warrant was put out in Colorado, and I guess the marshals found him and everything and arrested him, and they expedited him back to Colorado. On August 15, 2017, he was officially charged with second-degree murder and child abuse resulting in death. Of course, he pled not guilty on all charges. It took a long time for the case to go to court. It rescheduled a whopping 10 times.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
One of the times is because Mark's attorney got arrested for domestic violence.
Oh!
That's a
You got
great attorney.
good attorney there, Mark.
It was officially rescheduled for September of 2020, but because of the good old coronavirus, COVID, it was then pushed back to 2021.
Oh, wow. That's not been too long ago.
Yes, the official of everything, this case was just recently solved. So, I mean, it's a fresh one.
That's
When they finally went to trial, there was just more evidence that would just come out. They were like learning more evidence of Mark, the one who killed Dylan. He said that Mark was killed. They said that Mark had killed in the living room with a knife or another object, and he actually, this is kind of a warning right here, he actually decapitated Dylan,
oh, gosh.
and then he got rid of his remains in the area. Can you imagine killing him?
No! No! Like, just, what the, I can't. They just, that's a whole nother level of screwed up. Like,
oh, just wait until you figure out, well, you kind of already know why.
I mean, yeah.
But you guys,
It's bad.
they've gone in there.
It's sick.
They found more blood than what they originally found in the search. So, they said that they found droplets of blood here and there, which I think, that could have been for a cut or whatever. But they actually found, like, a lot of blood under the rug, on a couch, and on a love seat. Cadaver.
So he literally just attacked him in the house.
Yeah.
Okay.
Cadaver dogs picked up scents of remains in Mark's truck, his living room, and even on Mark's clothing. They also could prove a motive. This part right here is disturbing, so warning with this part, it's gonna be gross. So if you want to skip ahead, skip ahead just a little bit, because this is unless you really want to know. I will not put the photos of this in because I ain't about that.
Yeah, I know what this is. I know what's coming. You can look them up if you want to.
Yeah.
You can Google them.
No. So apparently Corey and Dylan in 2011 went on a camping trip with their father. And of course, any kid would want to play on electronic cell phones, laptops or whatever. So they were on his father's laptop, and they stumbled upon some photos of their father that was disturbing. And the photos were of this part I don't.
So was his brother with him?
Yes,
and they both saw
yes.
it. Okay.
This was in 2011. So I guess Corey went on this trip with Dylan this time.
Why didn't Corey say anything about what he had found before, like during the whole investigation?
Oh no, just wait.
Oh, okay.
Shut up, Renee. Let me tell the damn story. So they get on the laptop, they find these disturbing photos. This one photo, I was kind of like, do you, boo-boo, do whatever. But they found a picture of their father wearing red lipstick and wearing a red bra. Whatever you want to do. But as they kept swiping for the photos, they found a photo of their father eating human feces out of a diaper. Honestly, that just kind of made me have like a little gag in my throat.
That's disgusting.
Oh my gosh, I literally want to gag. Ew. So the boys were obviously disgusted and like disturbed by it.
I mean, could you imagine seeing something like that?
I would. Oh my gosh. I don't even
No wonder they didn't want to be around him.
So Corey actually took photos of the photos. So he took out his phone and he like took photos of it.
Yeah.
But like they kind of, I guess they didn't say anything. Corey actually confronted his father in early 2012, and Mark got extremely angry, upset, and even reacted violently towards Corey. So that's what they said that the motive and everything is the reason why. Because they said that, Dylan confronted his father. I don't know if it was just, they got into an argument that night, well, you always spend time with your mother, blah, blah, blah. Well, and then Dylan could have been like, well, at least I'm not eating human feces out of a diaper. It could have been something like that, and that could have made Mark snap and kill. So they said that's the reason why. Of course, Mark denied it all. Mm-hmm. He's like, nope.
He can't deny a photo, dude.
Yeah. And, wait until you hear this. So he denied it, and Mark never took the stand. And he also said that the photos of the guy in the photo was not him, and his wife photoshopped it. That ain't me.
Yeah.
That ain't me. Yes, it is.
Yeah. There again, people get pulled over. That ain't my drug paraphernalia. That ain't my marijuana. That's my friend's. This ain't my car. This is my friend's car. I didn't know that was in there.
But he said that none of it was his, and his wife photoshopped it and everything. And I'm like, you could clearly tell from the photos it's not.
Okay.
Yes, Renee.
Why in the world would somebody Photoshop that? Anyway, like how are you finding somebody eating human feces?
So I'm screaming.
You know what I mean?
You're gonna have to do some really like dark web digging to get any of that kind of crap.
Mark, you think too much of yourself, dude.
So Mark's first wife, Betsy, actually took the stand too, and some stuff was said, but there was some stuff that really kind of pointed out that their marriage was very, very violent. And once they divorced, Mark said that he actually was going to kill both of the boys. So he had two kids from that marriage, and he was going to kill them. She also said that one time they went camping, and Mark nonchalantly made this comment saying that if I ever kill somebody, I'm going to hide them in the woods. They never find a body in the mountains. Guess what? They did.
They find bodies in the mountains all the time.
Brandon, the brother that came, half brother that came from Arizona, who, is their oldest son, took the stand and pretty much said that, that then again, Mark didn't help with the search at all for Dylan. Like, he didn't help, like, with anything at all, and, like, he didn't really show sympathy about him disappearance, but he would show sympathy to the media.
Of course, that's what they do.
So he really didn't, like, around the family, he was kind of just like, whatever. But, like, the media's like, so, I mean, whatever. And, of course, his people just was trying to throw everything out. The evidence was, that the blood that they found and everything was, like, they also said that the cadaver dogs was junk science. So they were just trying to throw everything out.
Yeah.
Like the testimonies, all this and that.
They're just grasping at anything.
Because they didn't have anything to defend him off of.
Yeah.
So, then of course, deny. They kept holding on to the story that Dylan ran away and he was attacked by some type of animal. Like, that was the defendants. Like, the defending team. Just defending team. That's what they were trying to hold on to.
Yeah.
On July 16th, 2021, the jury deliberated for 6.5 hours, which they have reached a unanimous verdict. They found him guilty of murder in second degree and child abuse resulting in death. People out there still believe that Mark is innocent, but people do believe that, he did do it. And Mark also pled that he is innocent, and he has never came out, saying that, I did it or anything like that. He just kept sticking to his story and everything. And Mark was actually sentenced to 48 years in prison.
Well, why is there blood all over your living room?
Mm-hmm.
Nobody gets, okay, so you have a nosebleed. I've had a nosebleed.
Mm-hmm.
Like, you think it's a lot of blood, but if you talk to a doctor about a nosebleed, it's really technically not that much.
Yeah.
You cut your finger, you have a nosebleed. Like, I've heard that, I don't know how many times people trying to explain blood somewhere. But you're not going to have blood all under a carpet, all over a couch, because you cut your finger or you had a nosebleed.
Yeah.
Like, dude, he did it.
Mm-hmm.
He got pissed off because of something Dylan said to him, and he flew off the handle and he bashed him in the head.
Yeah.
That's what I think, anyway.
And it's just, I don't know why people think that there's all this evidence is pointing to Mark, and people are like, no, he didn't do it. Like, then you tell me what happened. He is no, there's no kidnapping, because, here's the thing, if he was kidnapped and murdered and everything, there would be, more evidence towards that.
Yeah.
Like, tire tracks or something like that, or somebody would have seen something. But
Well, the thing with him saying, I came home and the door was left open and this happened and that happened. Like, you're there by yourself. There's nobody to say, no, that's not how it went.
Mm-hmm.
You could say whatever.
Yeah.
Like, they probably got into it the night before and he did something to him. And then he just staged all the stuff.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, I saw this and I saw that and I saw that,
Mm-hmm.
because he's the only one that knows really what happened. No, I think, in my personal opinion, that he did that because he got mad.
Too. Yeah.
Because like Kaylor said earlier, Dylan probably was like, well, at least I don't eat human feces or something, I mean,
That's for daddy.
Yeah. That's disgusting. Like, seriously.
I honestly, I have a gag stuck right here. I can't handle dookie.
Why, Dookie?
I can't. Dookie, no, poo-poo, no, poo-poo.
I can't imagine why that you would want to do that. Like, I don't even know. I don't even want to know whose feces it was. Like, who? Oh my God! It don't even matter who. That's just disgusting.
Oh my gosh! I'm when I close my eyes, I can see the photos.
And it's like, what are you getting into where you're doing that?
It's a kink.
Like,
People find that.
dude, that's gross.
There's people out there that find crushing, people who step on stuff, makes them
No.
There's a lot of nastiness.
No.
Yeah. That was the case of Dylan Redwine, and I finally did it after talking
I
about it
know.
forever.
We've talked about this one a lot.
Yeah.
Because we think the dad did it.
Oh yeah, 100%.
Yeah. And I'm totally with the mom the entire time.
Mm-hmm.
She knew it. Her intuition was spot on.
Because she's always with her kid. She has full custody. She knows
you
everything.
know how they are.
Yeah.
It's like I said earlier, you know your child.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I know what mine's going to say or do most of the time before he does it. Like, or how he's going to react to a situation.
Yeah.
Or, whatever. You just know.
Mm-hmm. Anyways, that was it. That was the story of him. Let us know if you think he did it.
Yeah. Let us know in the comments down below what you think about it. And how disgusting Mark is.
Yeah.
Boy, he thought a lot of himself too.
Yeah. Anyways, we'll see. We'll see you in our next video next week, and keep your eye out for that because it's going to be Renee's turn.
Yeah, thanks for hanging out with us today.
Yeah.
We'll see you next week.
Bye.